Hey, I'm Jeff, welcome back. I'm in my workshop trying to solve a storage problem really today. It's a quick one. So I've got 3 tracks for a track saw, 2 1400 ones and 1 800. I have no wall space to be able to mount them. In a lot of workshops you see that they've got these brackets and they can put them flat on the wall. Typically the American workshops where they've got 5 times the space we have here. And yeah, so they typically just stand up leaning against the wall somewhere and they get moved from pillar to post, often knocked over, and you don't really want to do that with these. So I've come up with an idea of how to mount them when you're a bit limited on space, but maybe you've got some, you know, under surface space. So what I mean by that is I've got, I'll show you now, I have a shelf that I put above the garage doors, some unutilized space, and there's a bit of space before the garage door opens, maybe this much, 100 mil, 120 mil. So what I've done is I've modeled in 3D and 3D printed some brackets. Now the first ones were just prototypes, but I'll show you them anyway. The final ones, or hopefully the final ones, are printing now. So what I've got, one bracket that sits on one side, another bracket that sits 1400 mil in the gap away or just over. And the top 2 layers are for the 2 long ones, and the reason these are only 2 is to receive the ends of the 2 long ones. And then at the midpoint, or 800 mil in, is one with a pass-through. If you can see through there, there's a pass-through for the 2 long ones to go through, and then the 800 mil will sit between the 2 bottom ones like that. Hopefully that's making sense. It will do when we get to the install. And then on the bottom is a pass-through hole for each of the screw locations, and the screw location hole is a bit smaller, it's 6 mil, and countersunk on the inside to allow for the head of the screw to disappear away from the rails. However, I said this is a prototype because when I printed this, I didn't think about the infill not being strong enough around where the screw goes through, and you can kind of see possibly in there where the screw head goes, so there's some splitting where the plastic's gone. But I've got the new ones printing right now, and what I've done, so if you're going to print these yourself, and if you're interested in the models, just comment below, and then if I get enough interest I'll share them. But around when you've got this on in the software for 3D printing, when you've got the model on the bed, what you can do is add a modifier, and you right click on the model. I chose a cylinder, rotated it, and positioned the cylinder just through where the holes are here, and that cylinder allows you to change the properties in that area. So then you change the properties just for that modifier. So I did a solid infill in this area here, so each of these, when they're printed again, will be totally solid, so it will resist cracking from the pressure of the screw going through it. But yeah, let me know in the comments if you want the models, and then I'll prep them and share them. The other thing I printed to help make it easy was this template for the screw hole locations, and then just using a right angle I can position it, make sure it's at the right starting point, mark the holes and then drill them. I had 2 kind of options when designing this. One was to screw through it like I have done, and the other was to kind of make a dovetail piece at the top here where you screw a piece on like this with dovetail on it and then slide that onto it. But I thought that's just a bit over the top really, so I've gone for this option. Let's take a look at getting the install done. Not too bad. Well, I think it's pretty good. Like I said, if you want the 3D prints, drop a comment. if you want to see how to do the modifying in the slicer for the 3D printing software, then keep on watching, because that's the next section. If not, I'll see you in the next video. Hope you enjoyed this one. So earlier in the video, I was talking about modifying the 3D model to have stronger areas around where the screws are going to go through. This is the before. This is the one that crushed. You can just see you've got infill around the hole and a couple of thin walls, and that's it. So let's sort that out. First of all, you select the model, you right click on it and you click add modifier. Now I've chosen cylinder as my option for this because it's ideal for this scenario. Now I need to rotate that cylinder by 90 degrees on the y-axis so the flat top is parallel to the side wall of the model. And the next thing I need to do is I need to make sure I'm in orthographic view, which in Bamboo Slicer is called orthogonal view. And I'm just going to dispose of these other models that are the other parts of the model that I don't need for the purpose of this video, just to keep it nice and clean. So I'm just going to change the orientation of the view. There's a menu. Under the view menu, you can choose left or right or top or bottom. So I've chosen left. It's the wrong side. I need to flip it. I need to be on the right side. So we'll just do that. And it gives you a dead flat surface to work against. So I select the modifier. And you can see over on the left-hand side there, we have the modifier, and it's part of a group by the model name. Now I'm just positioning it using the move tool, and I'm just going to scale it down to the size of the area that I want to affect within the model. And then I'm going to select it and set some properties on it. Now the first property I set is the walls. Now this is really, you can either set walls or infill, and I'm going to show you both. So you could set infill this way by setting 100, and if the type of infill you've got won't accept 100% infill, it will change to rectilinear. I set the walls to 80. It's an arbitrary number because it won't go bigger than the modifier area. So I've just selected the modifier, press Command C, Command V to duplicate it, and then I've just using the move tool, moved it over the next hole. I've just duplicated it again. I just need to select it again, and then I'll drag it across using the move tool over the next hole. And then I'm just going to slice it to see how that affects the model. You'll notice as I move through the layers of the model, once it's been sliced, it's not having any impact on the model. So something to be aware of is those modifiers need to interface with the model. So if I just rotate the model down now, you will see that they actually sat out in space. So something just to be aware of. So if I select all three of them, you can move them together as a group. So I shift select the group, select the move tool from the top bar, and then I'll slide them in using the blue arrow, the red arrow, sorry, so that they intersect with the model. Now, where they intersect, that's where the changes I just made will take effect. Now, because I set the walls to be 80, as I scroll through the layers, you'll see they've been modified to each have 80, well, as many walls as will fit in that space, basically, because I've chosen a bigger number than the size of the modifier. The other way of doing it, I'll show you both, is if you didn't set the walls, you just set the infill to be 100%. That's how it would look. So it's just down to what you think is best for your need, whether that vertical strength through the width of the hole of using walls is better for you, or the angled infill of the rectilinear 100% infill. I've opted for the walls because I want that vertical strength where the screw is going to be pushing through, but it's up to you. Choose whichever one best suits you. Okay, that's it. Hopefully that was useful, and I'll see you in the next video, hopefully. Don't forget to drop a comment, subscribe. See you soon.